Everyone keeps saying that there are more homes for sale. But here's my question. If inventory has been rising for the last 4 years straight, why haven't home prices fallen across Arizona? Do you agree? Now, and perhaps an even better question is this. Why are some cities in Maricopa County seeing stronger homes prices than others? Today, I am going to walk you through 4 important charts that explain exactly what's happening in today's housing market and why Chandler continues to stand out from many surrounding cities. Hello everyone, my name is Longley. I am the team leader of the Magical Success Realty team. Every week, I break down national and local housing data to help home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, to make a better real estate decision. Today's theme is simple. Real estate is local. National headlines only tell part of the story. So let's start with what's happening across the country. In front of you right here is the chart showing you the percentage of homeowners delist their house in April 2026. Nationally, the average is about 5.8% of the available listing on the market. That is actually the highest level that we since March 2020. Now, the reason why I say 2020 is because that is actually the period we're seeing an increase in inventory after the COVID period. So many people assume that if home price don't sell, the prices must come down, right? But here's the thing though. Let's get this a little bit. We said in Atlanta, there's about 10.5, almost 11% of homes that the seller decide to take off market. At the lower end, in San Jose, California, we see about 9% of the home take off the market, right? And in the other extreme, we see Columbus is about 4% and Westbus is about 4% of the homeowners take off the home from the market. In Phoenix, we're gonna see that around 5.8, 5.7% the homeowners decide to take off the house from the market. Now, when you see that there's a lot of homes that cannot sell and, the price drop the price. But the more important, the way to interpret this is this, okay? They did not choose to drop the price. They simply remove their homes on the market and they say, I'm not gonna sell the house at this time if I cannot get that price that I want, right? These charts compares major across the country, and Phoenix, as you see, sits right at the national average. That tells us another about this chart is that also tells us that Arizona sellers are behaving much like sellers across the rest of the country. That means instead of accepting the lower rate, the lower offer, the lower price, they choose to wait. So some of you might ask me why is that the case? Why they cannot sell and they don't drop the price? That's a lot of people ask me that question too. Because many homeowners, number one, have plenty of equity in today's market. So they don't want to lose those equity. They want to hold on and hoping that in the future, the home price will continue to drop. Okay? And number two, they are not under financial pressure to sell. Okay? You know what? All of them, or most of the homeowners today, they already refinanced or bought the house in 2021 and 2022, and therefore their mortgage is super low. For example, my primary house right now is sitting at 2.75 interest rate. Nobody can have that now in today's market. So, the payment that they have is very low and there's no pressure for them to sell, right? They would rather that waiting for the period that the mortgage rate is getting lower and more buyers are going to come back to the market and therefore they're going to sell that. Okay, so this is very important distinction. A canceled listing is not the distressed sale. Okay, so not let the like that you hear say a canceled listing is a horrible market. Wait for it, right? There's a reason behind it. Okay, so let's take a look at at Arizona. Okay, we see that Arizona market behaving pretty much the same compared to the rest of the country. Now this is specifically the chart to confirm that. Okay, so chart show the cancel listing over the past several years. Okay, notice the cancellation peaks in 2025, right? So you see here is at the lowest in 2021 and the beginning of 2022, because at that time the interest rate is very high, but very low. But after the interest rate go higher at the end of 2022, it's peaked one time, it's go down in 2023, go up again in 2024, peak again in 2025. It go down a little bit toward the beginning of 2026 with a signal that interest might go down. It's actually went down compared to 2025, right? But now with the interest rate go back up again, the canceled listing start to picking up. Okay, this is some sellers are once again deciding to pause instead of negotiating down. They can just say, nope, I'm not gonna sell. I'm just gonna keep it. Okay, confirm in Arizona. Now let's look at Chandler specifically. This Chandler also follow that trend as you see, like 2021 of 2022 is low. It's peak again in 2022, drop down to lowest level in 2023, and then go back up 2024, go back again 2025 is a peak. Same situation at the beginning of 2026, and now going back up again. Okay. However, if you notice, the number of canceled listings today is still noticeable below the peak that we saw back in 2022. So you see here in Chandler, here in Arizona, the peak in 2025 is pretty much higher than 2022. But here in Chandler, the peak in 2025 is less than 2022. That is a sign that the buyer demand in Chandler remain a little bit healthier than the rest of Arizona. In other words, we can say that Chandler has a little bit more demand. And if you are choosing to buy in Arizona, especially if you are first-time home buyer, right? You're gonna have facing a little bit competition. You still be able to negotiate, but you are facing competition in this market as well. Okay. And anyway, if you're thinking about buying a house in 2026 or maybe 2027, this is the perfect time because I do have the buyer webinar in which I'm talking about the 7 steps for you to purchase your first home in Arizona. And this is specifically designed for immigrants and first-time home buyer. So it has a lot of information, useful information about how to find the agent, how to save for the down payment, how to choose the right loan, how to choose the right house, how to make a good offer, how to manage the transaction, as well as building wealth using your house. Okay, so information is going to talk about in here. If you're thinking about buying, this webinar is for you. Completely free. Scan the QR code and you will receive the information about date and time. Okay, so the question is, why are we seeing more cancel listing? All right, the question is inventory. Very easy, because we see that the inventory has been increased for the last 4 years. Okay, it's the lowest. We go up, go down, up, down. Inventory at the long run is still going straight upward. So as more homeowners list their home, but at the same time, during the last 4 years, the buyers become more cautious because of high interest rate, right? Sellers, of course, facing more competition on the market. More and more homes available, so they're facing more competition, right? Some home sales, right? Other homes still sit on the market a little bit longer, and some owners decide to remove the listing because of that reason. Because they cannot sit longer on the market because they want, so the mortgage is low, but they want to pay the mortgage every single month, right? So that's why they decide to take it off and maybe rent it, give it to family member to live, to stay, and they don't have to pay the mortgage, right? So this explains why inventory can rise without causing a major drop in price, because the seller are not forced to sell. Because many sellers simply choose to wait instead of accepting lower offers. If they are in the must-sell situation, they're gonna lower the price. But it seems like the majority of the people who are not in the must. I have a say the must is maybe like a situation, right? Or a in a family, right? And even if you are in the divorce situation, I do have that in the divorce situation, but he doesn't want to sell. He doesn't want to lower the price because his mortgage is $2,000 a month, right? $2,100, something like that. It's less than if he go rent a one-bedroom apartment. Why does he have to do that? Right? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so instead of selling the house, they just keep it and pay for it, right? What about Arizona, right? As you see here, we can also see that the lowest inventory in 2020 and 2021, and then from there it's going back up, the inventory, the active listing, right? Now the inventory level of an entire Arizona already come back to the level of 2014, okay? That doesn't mean that we are back in the housing crash. If we're talking about crashing market, we're talking about 50,000, 60,000 in 07 and 08 available listing, okay? This simply the buyer finally have more options, right? Compared to a few years ago, buyer now actually have more options, right? A few years ago, meaning 2020 and 2021, right? In which they have to like act fast, but they do. But for the buyers that's shopping right now, they have more homes to choose, they have more time to make the decision, and they also have a better negotiation power because there's more houses competing against each other in today's market. So this is much a market than we experienced in 2021 and 2022. What about Chandler, right? Chandler has at the end, at the high level view, the same concept, right? 2020, 2021 is the lowest, go up a little bit in 2022. It's actually dropped almost to the same level of 2021, and now it's going back up, okay? But here's one more major difference. The 2026 level of Chandler is now only returning to the 2017 level. This is a huge difference. This means that the inventory remains much tighter in Chandler than it does across Arizona as a whole. Why? In general, you see that Chandler continue to attracting more buyers come to stay, right? People still want Chandler school, employment opportunity, parks, rest quality of life. That's one of the reasons Chandler home price has remained more stable, if not go higher than many surrounding cities in Maricopa County. Okay? Now, this is exactly the reason why you cannot just listen to the real estate market as one headline and then apply to everything. The real estate data is local. So if you want more information about your local real estate data, contact me for more information. Here's what I want you to take, want to remember in today, okay? Number one, sellers across country are choosing to wait instead of cutting price. Number two, Arizona is following the same trend across the country. Number three, inventory has been increasing for the last 4 years, giving buyers more choices than ever, right? That gives you advantage. You have negotiation power and you have more choices and you have more time as well. So why wouldn't you go shopping for a house right now, right? Chandler remains one of the highest in Maricopa County and have a home value increasing every single week. That's why understanding your local market is so much important. Okay, if you're thinking about buying, especially first-time home buyers in Chandler and surrounding area, I'm more than happy to help you understand what's happening specifically in your neighborhood. So every cities, every neighborhood, every zip code is different. So if you like a personalized market update or want me to explain what's happening in your local area, give me a call or send me a message. All right? Well, thank you. Have a good time.